Hi, and welcome to Morning Coffee with Bazan Academy. It's Great Books Monday, and I want to talk to you about an article I came across from Intellectual Takeout by Annie Holmquist. This was about James Madison's library and what it contained. Now, why this is interesting and rather important is that it was James Madison who drafted a bulk of the Constitution at his home, Montpelier, in Virginia. He's regarded as the father of the Constitution, and if you ever find yourself in Virginia, you can go and tour his home and stand in the study where he worked and drafted and be amongst the books in his library, which is an amazing feeling and just an incredible opportunity to experience this history personally. So the article is really short, and it focuses on 17 volumes that were in his library. His library consisted of more books than what they list, but this is a really good start if you want to read some of the same leading theorists and writers and these ideas that he used to formulate the American Constitution. The list includes Charles Lamb's Tales from Shakespeare himself. They list Hamlet. Also included are some philosophers like David Hume and Cicero, and even historians like Edward Gibbon. So I'm going to focus on 3 of these works that I think are extremely important in understanding the American Constitution, but also for understanding past peoples and history and how ideas were formulated in the past that we can use in the present. The first is Lives by Plutarch. Now, Plutarch was a Roman writer, and he wrote about the great Greek and Roman figures, people like Alexander the Great, Julius Caesar, and Themistocles. Now, they may not have all been great in every activity that they did, but understanding these past leaders really helps inform us on the types of things that leaders should look for, and when drafting a constitution for a very new nation, knowing what they didn't want because of what they had been dealing with Britain, they really went to look at these past peoples to figure out what was done correctly. Another work that Madison studied was written in his own time, but focuses on ancient Rome. This was written by Edward Gibbon in the 18th century, and while he was in Rome, he visited the ruins, and he was intrigued to try to understand what made this once great empire fall. So he wrote a 6-volume work called The Decline and Fall of the Roman Empire. Now, it is a lot to get through. I had to read it in college, but if you pace yourself and you really try to understand where he's coming from, and he's using sources, and he's really an investigator looking at history, trying to understand what happened. This is a very crucial reading for Madison in understanding the past in order to draft the Constitution. And the last work I want to focus on is the 17th century philosopher John Locke and the 2 treatises on government. Now, this work is really important because at the time that the Constitution was drafted, the colonies were separating from a monarchy, and the first volume of these treaties is about how having a divine king or a king with a sort of right to rule, how that isn't always the most appropriate, that maybe rule needs to be earned. The second treatise is on how to have a civil government. Madison would have read this and applied it to the Constitution and formulating the basis of what America was to be founded on. So what Madison did, and what a lot of the founding fathers did, is that they looked to these works, they researched, they read history, they read philosophy, they even read literature like Shakespeare's Hamlet in order to understand the human condition, in order to understand how humans have governed themselves, how rulers have come out being both good and bad. This is what they used to come up with a way to govern this new nation based on philosophy, based on history. So doing the research and not just divinely ruling or ruling as a theocracy or associated with religion. This is a new, unique experiment, and it's these classic works that they read in order to make it happen. So we'll put a link to the article below, and I recommend that you put at least some of these on your reading list for the next year or 2. Thanks for watching, and if you are enjoying the videos, please like them, share with your friends, hit that notification bell, and we'll put links in addition to the article to our social media in the description below. Have a great day, and I'm off to read some classic works.